Good afternoon, learners. It's Thursday, the 30th of April. You know it's 12 p.m., so you know what time it is. It is time for English Grade 8 First Additional Assignment. So welcome to today's lesson. Welcome to today's lesson. If you can hear me, please say hi. Thank you so much. Hi, hello everybody. I see your greetings. Hello, hi, hello. Yes, welcome to today's lesson. Let's get started without wasting time. So what will today's lesson be all about? Today's lesson will be dealing with literal language. We're going to go through again the synonyms and antonyms, and we're also going to go through homophones and homonyms. Stick around as we learn about what all these things are. But before we continue with today's lesson, let's recap what we did yesterday. Yesterday what we did simple present tense, simple past tense, as well as emotive language, manipulative language, sentence structure, as well as negation. And if you can remember very well yesterday, I gave you a homework which was filled with 4 questions. I'm wondering if you did that homework. Did you do that homework? Anyway, let's briefly look at the answers to yesterday's homework. Please take screenshots so that you can compare with your answers and see how you have scored, to see how you have managed to do the homework. Let's look at the answers quickly. So those are the answers for question 1 and question 2. You realize that all those I wrote in red, those are the answers to the questions which are in black, right? So yes, please take a screenshot of that so you can go through them. Those are the answers to yesterday's homework, which was about yesterday's lesson. So there is question 1, which was about simple present and simple past tense. Question 2 was about emotive language and manipulative language. You remember that? Yes, so these are the answers to those questions yesterday, and I think you will find them to be straightforward, that they really are not as complicated as those questions really look. It was just about remembering what we went through yesterday and applying that knowledge to the homework questions. So there are the answers for question 1 as well as for question 2. Right? Are we all together, guys? Right. So that's question 1, that's question 2. All right. Yes. Okay. I hope everybody is okay. No, the screen is not frozen. I'm just giving you time to take the screenshots. Let's continue to question 3. there are the answers to question 3, where you were asked to identify the subject, the verb, as well as the object in the following sentences. So you realize that the sentences, they are written in black, and I wrote the answers in red, like a teacher would. Like we as teachers, we use a red pen, to mark your work at school. So yeah, I was really going back to that, that convention of using the red pen. That's why I've decided to write these corrections, in red font color. So there are the answers for question 3. Then let's move to the next one, the last question from yesterday's homework, which was question 4. Question 4, which was about negation. So the instruction was write the following sentences as a negation, right? So the sentences which were in the question, I still left them in black. Then I wrote the answers in red, like a teacher would. Yeah. So yes, like a teacher would. That's what I did there. So those are the answers. So I hope everybody's taking a screenshot of these. And remember that if you have a question, please use the chat so that we can help you. So yes, what I just did now is the corrections which were based on the homework, which was based on yesterday's lesson, the things we went through, the things I taught you in the previous lesson yesterday. So let's move on then to today's news, to today's lesson. So like I said that in today's lesson, we are going to go through literal language, synonyms, antonyms, homophones, as well as homonyms. Right. If you are wondering what these things are, you are in the right place. Stay with us, and then you will understand by the end of this lesson what these things are. Right. The first one, literal language. So a literal language describes something as it is. Okay. So a literal language describes something as it is. So literal language really. So right now, if I say computer, that is a literal language. Because when I say computer, you think of a computer, right? You think of a device with a screen connected to a keyboard and a mouse and a box they call a hard drive, right? So if I say computer, that's what comes to mind, and that is literal language. That is something as it is. That is how a computer is. So that is literal language. So literal language is the usual, ordinary, everyday meaning of words, true to fact. Like I said to the computer, when I say computer, you think of a screen with a keyboard and a mouse and a hard drive. So that is a literal language. That is literal. That is how it is. There is nothing about it. There is no hidden message behind it. There's no implicit message about it. It is just like that. When I say computer, I mean a computer, not anything else, right? So that is what I am talking about. So are we all together? So remember, if you do not understand or you have questions, please use the chat to ask your questions, and I will get to them as soon as I see them. I promise you. So let's continue with today's lesson. So that is all about literal language, really. That is about literal language. So on the other side of literal language, there is what they call figurative language. So figurative language is really that language that, you know, it it really doesn't mean the words that which they say, right? So if now I can say, okay, what can I say? So okay, with figurative language, we use words, but then the meaning is not those words literally, but it is something else. For example, you see like proverbs. Proverbs are example of a figurative language, because right now I can say this proverb. I can say every dog has its day, right? But then if you can analyze the meaning of that proverb really doesn't talk about a dog literally. but that proverb really means that every person has their own day of opportunity, you know. So then it cannot. So yes, that proverb, every dog has its day, it doesn't literally talk about dogs, you know. It talks about us as people. It talks about us as people, that for each and every person, no matter how you feel about your life right now, but it means that there is that day for everybody, for every person, that day of an opportunity for them, you know. That day when they think about it, they get happy, and they see that day as the most important day of their lives because their lives change for the better since that day, you know. So that is how figurative language works. It uses some words to communicate another thing. So proverbs really are an example of a figurative language, right? So yes, it's just that we are not going to go through figurative language in this lesson, but I was just saying it so you can see the other side of literal language. So the opposite of a literal language would be figurative language, right? Okay, I hope we all understand that. Remember, if you do not understand, the chat is there for you. So please use it, okay? Use the chat. Ask your questions, ask your concerns about the lesson, and I will be happy to help you because that is the reason why I am here. I am here to help you guys. I am here for you. So please use this opportunity to get as much help as you need on what we are doing, on what we are presenting in today's lesson or any other lesson for that matter. So yes, that is it about literal language. So literal language really anything that which you can think of as it is, that is a literal language. Oh, you see. So when I say a mirror, you're gonna think of a glass where you can see an image of yourself. That is a literal language, right? Because there is no underlying meaning behind that, you know. There is nothing implied behind that, you know. So that is a literal language. But with figurative language, there is something that which is implied, you know. There is something that which is implied in that. Okay, let me give another example. Let's say that you are a fan of football, you are a fan of soccer, yes, and then the South African team Bafana Bafana wins a match and defeats another team, let's say Nigeria, for example. So when you and your friends are talking about this match, what are you gonna say? You will say South Africa won against Nigeria, you know. So that also is another example of a figurative language. Why? Because remember, there are about 55 million of us in South Africa, and not all of us play football. So when you say South Africa won against Nigeria, that's figurative language, right? What you are trying to say is that the playing 11 of our South African team, they won against the playing 11 of the Nigerian team. So that is figurative language. So if I wanted to put that in a literal language, I would say our South African soccer team won against the Nigerian soccer team, right? So that is what is all about. So that's literal language. I think that is straightforward and easy enough. So let's go to the next section of our lesson, which is synonyms. If you have been attending our lessons for some time now, I think you will recognize this. So yes, we're just passing through synonyms because it really does go with what we are going through today. So remember that a synonym is a word that means the same as another word in the same language, right? And those are the example. For example, the synonym of fast is quick. The synonym of present is gift. The synonym of help is assist. You know, there are many synonyms, you know. Almost every word has a synonym, right? So if you want to find synonyms, you can use a thesaurus. A thesaurus is a book. It's like a dictionary. So the difference between a dictionary and a thesaurus is that when you look at word in the dictionary will give you that word and the meaning of the word. But a thesaurus will give you that word and other words which mean the same as the word that which you're looking for. Right? For example, if then let's say you are looking for the word beautiful in the dictionary, right? So it will in the dictionary it will give you the meaning of beautiful. But if you look for beautiful in a thesaurus, it will give you a list of other words that mean the same thing as beautiful. Words such as wonderful, good, splendid, comely, appealing, attractive, and so on and so forth, right? So and a thesaurus really is an excellent resource to find synonyms. You know, you can use it when you write an essay. You know, when you're given an assignment or a homework to write an essay, it will be good to use a thesaurus. You know, it will really expand your mind about other words you can use. You know, yes, instead, yeah, other words you can use when maybe you want to feel like you know English more. You know, you want to feel like expanding your vocabulary, which is a good thing to do to expand your vocabulary so that your vocabulary can work for you in every context. Because imagine if now you do not know that the synonym for present is gift, right? If you don't know, like you could be misunderstood sometimes, you know. You want to say, I want to get you a present in the present, you know, it kinda really doesn't make sense. It can really be misinterpreted or misunderstood. But if you say, I want to get you a gift in the present, then that's better, you know, because we know that a gift is a gift. When you say present, we know that we'll be talking about what's happening right now, like this moment. So yes, let's go on. Then after synonyms, we have antonyms. Remember that an antonym is a word that means the opposite as another word in the same language. So in other words, an antonym is a direct opposite of a synonym, right? That's why even in the example, I gave the same words that which I used as examples in the synonyms. So for fast, the antonym for fast is slow, right? The antonym for arrive is depart. The antonym for below is above, you know, and so on and so forth. The antonym for beautiful is ugly. The antonym for rude is respectful, you know, yeah, so on and so forth, you know. So even as a source you can use to get antonyms, you know. And since you are millennials, you know, the generation which really came at the time when there is so much technology. You have you have Google, you know, you can use your tablet, you can use your smartphone, you know, if you want synonyms, if you want a synonym for a certain word, you just type it. If let's say you want a synonym for beautiful, you type beautiful antonym, and then you should get a list of all the antonyms for the word beautiful. Are we all together? Thank you. Good. Remember, if you are lost, if you don't understand, please use the chat feature to ask a question and I will help you. Yes, you can use the chat feature to make our lesson more interactive. So yes, everybody, let's continue. Let's go on to the next section of our lesson. I think really this one is very, very, very interesting. So our next section is the ones of homophones. So one interesting thing about the English language is that the English language really was developed from other languages, and there are some words that come from another language. So okay, let's go to homophones now. So homophones, right? If you didn't know what homophones are, I can show you a trick right now. Right. So okay, homophones. You realize homophones is made up of the word homo and the word phone, right? Good. So the word homo means the same, right? The word homo means the same. Okay. Then the word phone refers to a sound, right? So I think if you have a good memory, you can go back to when you were a child, in grade one, in grade two, you were doing what they call phonics. Yes, you're doing what they call phonics, right? So with phonics, what they were teaching you how to pronounce words, right? They were teaching you how to pronounce words. So the word phonics, it really comes from the word phone, which refers to sound, right? So from those two words, you can really get to know, okay, and understand what homophones are. Remember, if you have a question, please use the chat to ask, and I will attend to your question as soon as I see it, as soon as I get it. So yes, homophones. So I said that homo means the same and phone refers to a sound. Therefore, from this first statement, you can see that okay, a homophone really has to do with it really has to do with something which have the same sound, right? So okay, here is the formal definition. Homophones are words that sound the same, when they are pronounced, but have different spellings and meanings. Let's go through that again. Homophones are words that sound the same when they are pronounced, but they have different spellings and meanings, right? So there are some examples there. I said son and son. So the first son, son, that is a boy child, right? A boy child is a son. Then son, so it's the word son and son. They have the same sound. They sound the same when we pronounce them, but when we write them, they have different spellings and even their meanings are different, right? So I give an example there in a sentence so we can really see that these really are homophones, right? So here's my first example. He was playing soccer with his son in the sun, right? So this person was playing soccer with his son, that is his boy child, in the sun. So like it was sunny when they were playing soccer. You all understand, right? So remember, if you do not understand, please, please, please use the chat feature so that I help you, because this is very, very, very important. Okay, this is very important. That's why I am adding several more examples onto this section. Okay, let's move on. So the second example, hair and hair. So hair, her, is the personal pronoun for a female, right? It is a pronoun for a female, hair. And hair, the hair on your head, right? So from here, okay, here's my example. You know that it is her because she has dyed her hair blonde, right? So then if so then if then if I write it in a sentence like this, then you can see, oh, this really are homophones. They do sound the same. Like when I read them now, like they sounded the same, but you can see that if you could read my sentence, you will see that they're not written the same, and they're not spelled the same, they're not written the same, and they mean different things. All right, right. So there are other homophones. I see in the chat somebody says meat, meat, and meat. Yes, it's meat. It's like a meeting, and the meat for food. Those also are those also are homophones, right? So remember, it's her, it's her, and her. They more or less sound the same, so they are
So
homophones.
when we say it's her and her, it means that they are same sound, but when we write it, they are not same.
Exactly. That is
But
how homophones work.
but sir, you say it's her and hair. They don't sound the same.
Red and
You
red.
say what?
Okay? Red and red. But explain.
Okay, so let us go to our third example. So for third example, we have red and red, So it is, the first one is red, is the color, and the second one is the past tense of the word read, the past tense of the verb read, right? So here I have used them in a sentence as an example that all the words which I have underlined in red are the ones I have read. Right? So it really do sound the same, right? So that is the thing about homophones. So with this, I was showing you what are homophones. So I was using these examples to bring it home, right? So there are many homophones, like by, like by, and by is like farewell, bye. So there are many more homophones, and there are some that we shall be giving you as homework today for today's lesson. So are we all together as far as homophones are concerned? So I think I'm gonna take this moment. Please text me homophones. Homophones, please. Homophones. Okay, I see there is by and by. There is BUY and BY. Okay. There is hair and hair. Okay, hair is in like the hair on your head, and the hair HARE is in like the a rabbit. Yes, a rabbit. Then there is meat and meat. So yeah, there are many examples for homophones really. There is which and which. So yeah, there really are many homophones really. There are many. There is male and male. Thank you. Some SOME and some SUM, the one you use in maths. So yes, there really is a lot of homophones. So there really is a lot of homophones. Right, so okay, I think we can move from homophones now and go to something which is almost as the same as homophones, but not quite. Oh, seems like everybody's sharing homophones. There's right, yes, right is like the right hand, and right to write using a pen. There's high for greeting, and high for height is like a very high height. So yes, there are a lot of homophones, guys. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for being part of this lesson. You really are making me to enjoy giving it, and wishing that this lesson could really be longer than the 45 minutes that which we have together. But anyway, it's good. We are having fun. We are learning. We are improving our English. Um, yes, so we are done with homophones. Yes, see, homophones are still coming in. There is night. Yes, Night, and night, Knight. Yes, many of them. So now let's move on to another section. So remember, guys, if you have a question, please use the chat to write it. Do you have a question on homophones? Is there a question on homophones? Remember, before I move to the next section, remember that homophones are words that sound the same when they are pronounced, but they have different spellings and meanings, right? So remember, homo means the same, phone has to do with sound. So homophones are words which really have the same sound. That is all about them. They have the same sound. They sound the same when you hear them. They sound the same when you read them. When you say them, when you pronounce them, they sound the same. But when you write them down, you use different spellings and they have different meanings. So those are homophones, right? Okay, let's move then to homonyms. Homonyms, right? So before I give you the formal definition, so homo, I said homo means the same. Name means, okay, name refers to name. So homonyms really is those words which really have the same name. You can really put it like that, you know. So, but let's give a formal definition. So a formal definition, it goes something like this, that homonyms are words that are spelled the same and they sound the same when they are pronounced, but they have different meanings. Let me go through that again. Homonyms are words that are spelled the same and they sound the same when they are pronounced, but they have different meanings. That kind of sounds a bit tricky. But remember, a good way to remember this is from my first definition of homonym. That homo means the same, name refers to name. So homonyms are words which have the same name, which means those are words which are spelled the same. We write them the same, they sound the same when we pronounce them, but they have different meanings, right? So let us go to examples. I think great thing about examples is that they really help us to understand more. They really help us to understand more and to bring our point home. So I see in the chat people are saying some homonyms, right and right. Yes, that's true. You know, there is right for the direction right, and there is right for being correct. Yes. Um, there is claim and claim. You know, a claim is if like to be entitled to something, and a claim is to make, yeah, a claim is to be entitled to something, and another claim as the act of being entitled to the thing, right? There are some more homonyms you guys are sharing. Please keep on sharing so that we can add to the examples that which I have. So, okay, in the chat, thank you. There is key and key, key for opening your door, and again, a key for, the map, that little box in a map. So, yeah. So, yes, here is my example. Here is my example there. There are my three examples. The first one, I said bat and bed. So the first bed is that winged animal, right? That winged animal, the bat, like we think of Batman, yeah, that animal which is on the chest of Batman. Yes, that's the bat, the winged animal. And and another meaning for bat is that wooden sport equipment that they use in baseball and also in cricket. So you realize that it is one word bad, but it means two things, right? It can mean that winged animal, or it can mean that wooden sport equipment they use in cricket and the one they use in baseball, right? So here's my example to bring this point home. The bat flew past the moment he hit the ball with his bat. So if you can think of my example here, my example really is about people who are playing cricket. The other one takes the ball and throws it to the one who has the bat. As the one who has the bat hits the ball with his bat, then there is the bat, that is the winged animal, which flies past them. All right, right. So the second example, date and date. There is date, a fruit. There is a fruit called a date, and date again as if like an event. So here's my example. My example, I said I brought her a date on our date, right? I brought her a date, that is a fruit, on our date in that event, right? Okay, another example is tip, right? So one meaning for the word tip is the end of the sub object, like an arrow or a knife, an eagle. So the end of a sub object is called a tip, right? And another meaning for the word tip is an important thing to remember. When I give you a tip, I'm telling you something that which is important for you to remember. So here's how I use them in an example. Here's a tip for you. Here's a tip for you. So this is something for you to remember. Avoid holding the knife at the tip. All right. So you can see from this sentence you can really differentiate the different meanings of the word tip. Right. Remember, if you have a question, please ask. I know homonyms, they are a bit more tricky than homophones. So I really want to spend a little bit time on this so I can help you to get it before the lesson ends, before I give you the homework. So yes, date is also like a day in the year. Thank you. That's true. Um, okay, let's see, guys. Let's see. Let's say we said a date is a fruit, right? A date is a fruit. Please Google it. Say date fruit, and then you will see what a date is. Then Cassandra, nail and nail. Yes, there is nail, the one that which we use with a hammer, and yes, and there is nail. They say is a sort of a bean. Okay, there are three different types of tips. Okay, yes, yes, Unati, but I've only used two in my example. So, okay, Bonke says talks about peer and peer. Peer is peer, PER. Those are people in your same age group, and peer again is PEER, as in like to really look closely through a window. Yes. Then there is fly. Fly is in like the act of using your wings to go up there, and then fly is in like that insect. That insect which we all hate so much. Then there is the word faint. Thank you, Mkon. The word faint, faint for being tired, right? And what else? Please sh- give me some examples of homonyms so we can add. So yes, these are the examples of the homonyms we have. So we also have fair. Fair is in like equal, and then fair again. Fair is also an olden English word which means beautiful. So in Old English, if you're beautiful, they wouldn't say you're beautiful. They will say you are a fair woman. Then okay, what else do we have? We also have banner. Yeah, a banner. We also have the word knuckle. All right. Yes. So those are some of the examples for homonyms that which we have. So for the sake of time, I think I'm going to move. Yes, yes, John, thank you. There's also nut, nut is in like that food, peanuts, and nut is nut also like that one which really goes with balls. Yeah. Okay, another there is a question from Cassandra saying, for a homophone, can you say tail and tail? Yes, Cassandra, for a homophone that is correct. Because remember what you said. You said that homophones they sound the same, but they have different spellings and different meanings. So TALE and TAIL, they are good examples for homophones. Thank you, Cassandra. Con saying flat and flat, yes, flat is in like a flat surface, and flat is in like a building. Right, Liseri muscles, yes. Con fit and fit, thank you. Bone firm, right. So those are homonyms, guys. And remember that when you write when you write a homonym, you should bear in mind that you and make sure that you know the meaning. You know the two meanings of the same word. Okay, okay. So let's continue. Another thing about homonyms, if you are the person who watches comedy, or if you are a funny person yourself, you realize that most of your jokes really have to do with homonyms. Why? because homonyms they are usually used to create puns, right? So if you're asking what a pun is a play on words that are spelled the same but mean different things. So what are those words? Words which are spelled the same but mean different things. Those are homonyms. So homonyms they are usually used as to create puns, and comedians really this is something they really like to do, right? They that's really something that which they like to do when like they make jokes, or when they write jokes or things that which make you funny, or things that really sound almost funny. So yeah, they use homonyms to make jokes. And I think if like you can really watch any comedy on TV or any stand-up comedy, like this is something that which you can really realize if you could really look into it. That comedians really like to use the word homonyms, and for us, we laugh, you know, because okay, here's something about comedy that if you could study comedy, you realize that okay, this is how it works. But when you laugh at something because it's funny, what happens is that that is your brain really releasing the tension because what you just heard really doesn't make sense, or it really is something that which your brain can really make sense of it at the moment at which it is heard. That's why we laugh. So when we laugh, it is the brain's way of releasing that tension. So that's why even comedians they like to use homonyms in their jokes. Yeah, I think you can really just listen to any comedian you like, and you realize that this is the case. Whether they are making their jokes in English or any other language, but you realize that this is what they do. So the summary of today's lesson before I give you the homework. So today we talked about literal language, that it is the usual, ordinary, everyday meanings of words. That is literal language, and I made an example with computer, that a computer really is literal. When I say computer, you think of a computer and there is no any underlying meaning behind that, right? Okay. So synonyms also is a word that means the same as another word in the same language. An antonym is a word that means the opposite as another word in the same language. Homophones are words that sound the same. Remember, homophones, words that sound the same when they are pronounced but have different spellings and meanings. Remember, I said homo means same, phones has to do with sound. So homophones have the same sound, right? As for homonyms, they are words that are spelled the same and they sound the same when they're pronounced, but they have different meanings, right? So I said that homo means same, name refers to name. So homonyms have the same name, that is, they're spelled the same, right? So that is what we did today. That is today's summary. If we sum everything all up in one slide, this is what we have. So in the few minutes that which I'm left with before the end of the lesson, I'm giving you another homework. Please take a screenshot of this. Please take a screenshot. So because today's homework will be based on everything we did today. So please take a screenshot. So question one really is about literal language. So in question one, I am asking you to state whether the following sentences are literal or figurative, right? So there's nothing you correct there. You just read the first one. I am so hungry that I could eat a horse. Is that literal or is that figurative? You tell me. So you do the same also with the remainder of those sentences in question one. Then in question two, I'm asking you to complete the table. So in the first column, I gave you words, right? I gave you words in the first column. Then in the second column, I'm asking for the synonyms of those words. And in the third column, I'm asking for the antonyms of those words. Are we all together? Thank you. So yes, this is not over. Let's go to question. There's still another two questions. Question three and question four. So question three really is about homophones. So I'm asking you to use the following words in sentences to show that the words are homophones. So all these words, they are homophones. Remember what I said homophones are? Homophones are the words which sound the same. So if you can read them, you realize that they do sound the same. All right. Yes. So in question three, really, I'm asking you to write a sentence using those homophones to really show that they are homophones and to really show your understanding of homophones, right? Then for question 4 is about homonyms. So use the following words in sentences to show that the words are homonyms. All right. So they already are homonyms, but I really want you to use in a sentence to really understand you yourself that these really are homonyms. All right. So here's a tip for you when you do this homework. When you do this homework, when you do this homework, just know what these words mean first, so that you can write sentences about them. Okay, know what each and every word means so that before you write the sentence about them. Even for question 4, know what kind of a train this is, and what kind of a train that is, right? Then if you know that, then you will be able to answer. Let me give you example for the first one. So this train is the train, that locomotive which travels on the railway. And the second train is that training which has to do with gym, right? So when you know that, then you can write your sentence, right? Then like that. So even in question 3, fine. For the first one, the first stationary means something which is not moving, right? And the second stationary is the your stationary, the one you use at school, your pens, your books, your pencils, right? So when you know what all those things are and what they mean, that's when you really can use them, right? So yes, this is your homework. So please do it, and on our next lesson on Monday, yes, our next lesson will be on Monday, then we'll go through the corrections. So I hope everybody took a screenshot of these, right? You can still find this slides, this lesson, it will be uploaded on YouTube. You can still find it there as well. So yes, please also take a screenshot so that you can be able to do this homework. Please do it with your friends, let your parents help you, your siblings, anybody who can help you, let them help you with it, right? So that's our homework. That is our homework is 4 questions. And yes, please do it and really, consolidate your understanding about what we went through today, what today's lesson really was all about. Remember to follow us on social media. Follow Africa Team Geeks on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. And remember to use our hashtag lockdown is school, to communicate with us. We want to hear your views, right? So everybody, this is the end of today's lesson today. See you on Monday. You have a wonderful long weekend. Keep well. Take care. I love you. Do your homework. Let's meet again on Monday for another lesson. Let's go through these corrections and start afresh with something new. I love you guys. From us, the STEM Lockdown e-school, we say have a happy long weekend and enjoy yourself. Take care. Keep well. Bye bye.